teams hoping they can start off on the right foot, win this first best of 3 to get themselves in a good spot to move on.
Yeah, we should be getting into game here right now, actually. Wow, look at the timing. Game number 1 of TFT at Esports World Cup between Branching Out and Geekay Esports. And everyone's on the same page, CLE, in terms of that portal option. Oh, until the last second.
I love this. I love the team play, even with these portals, is so incredibly fun. The last second swap there, keeping it exciting even from the very beginning.
Yeah, I wonder actually what the thought process was there for like, oh, that strategy might favor Branching Out, you know, a bit more than us. So Geekay Esports with that last second swap over to the 3-cost champion. Maybe some of them have, you know, 3-cost, strategies kind of cooked up there. You saw a Bard, a Swain. Swain may be a decent one to start off with for the, you know, a Shapeshifter opener.
Yeah, Swain is a key one. A lot of these 2 costs, though, are really what we want to base our compositions around. If we can get that early Syndra, Kog'Maw, whatever. So we're kind of looking for those 3 costs that fit in to the front lines of those compositions, like a Swain or a Mordekaiser.
100% Dobbs here with that Swain. And wow, Namzi is not a unit that like I personally click on a lot in the early game. But what are some of your like favorite openers that you can have in, you know, stage 2 of current TFT?
I mean, Syndra and an Orb is, you know, that's my favorite opener.
Syndra. That side of the Syndra, though. We all know the Syndra.
Okay. The Zoe opener is one of my favorites, though, as well. Able to get Zoe with Poppy and Lilia, who are all 1 cost as well. Just an excellent opener for AP. Able to, you know, get those 2-starred. You're going to have a great time in your stage 2.
Yeah, 100%. Potable here with an Elise 2. Definitely a strong start. Like, I'm not too unhappy having something like an Elise 2. Maybe you have 2 Shapeshifters, and then you get an Eldritch opener as well. I think Eldritch, you know, Portal, some of the really, really solid openers here. Potable not really having that many items that is going to be happy to slam in the early game, right? I think that's going to be a big thing. But Called Shot, I do want to top up this augment really, really quick, because that's, if you have a very strong opener, you know you're going to be able to win streak. It is so powerful, but if you do fall on that lose streak, it's almost useless.
Yeah, and these silver augments can be very helpful in the beginning, but they're not super impactful like the gold and prismatic augments are. So a lot of these choices, although they do matter, are not going to be the most important part of their game. I already see on the right side of the screen that we had a Kog'Maw 2 come through for Bapzera, so that comp has been claimed, and we now are over with Arcjow here. And a Kali 2 in shop is a really big upgrade here early, but not seeming like they want it.
Yeah, no, there's not multi-striker potential there. I think if you had an item to slam on a Kali, like a BT or a Sterix maybe, add multi-strikers, that would have been a potential. Voltairix here going up against Dobbs. Dobbs has a much stronger board here, even with only 1-star champions. But Volta may be setting up for something of a multi-striker. There's no BT slam, right? So not locking it in, but just making Econ, keeping that option open. Because I think Cassidon has maybe fallen out of favor a little bit, but multi-striker is still very solid, especially if you're able to get to that 7-piece on that trait.
Yeah, and usually you'd see about half the team lose streaking, half the team win streaking, but it looks like for Branching Out that 3 of them did lose there. So maybe some of these strategies are colliding. A good portal opener. Wow, a really strong board here from Arcjow now with 2 upgrades in the front line, plus the Hui in the back line. That is one of these units that is powerful sometimes. It has its moments.
Yeah, definitely. Frost is an opener that definitely have not seen too much of, right? The set is so new that there's not been that many things that have been explored, but Ionic Spark Slam in the early game as well, that Hui in the back line, no items for him yet, but I do actually really like that one. I think this is going to be likely to streak for most of the stage. I don't know if it'll be the whole entire stage here, but taking a look at VCLF, we see that Zoe, like you mentioned, a very strong start, right, with that Nashor's Slam.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak too early, but I don't see any Syndras on the field yet, so the stacks are not coming through here in stage 2 quite yet. So we may have a very uncontested Syndra game happening here for anyone who wants to take the risk and jump into that later.
Yeah, as soon as anyone sees into the shop, it's like, all right, I can just pivot into this for free. Oh, here we
just
go.
kidding. I was lying.
Syndra 2 on Lycoco. Well, 4 Syndras already at 2-3. Okay, we've seen this. We found the Syndra player in the lobby, and I actually love the Rage Blade Slam too. There's the Pandora's items, because there's been the discussion of what build is the best on Syndra, and it's gonna be what makes her attack or cast the most in a fight. Rage Blade Shojin +1 is kind of, I think, agreed upon as the best. That +1 being either a Nashor's Tooth or even a secondary Rage Blade as well.
Yeah, these Rage Blades this set it's been pretty transformative. Rage Blade had fallen out of the meta a lot in the past set, and so it's fun to see it as a really core build on a lot of these AP units specifically. Ryze being another great user of this, who is a 4-cost, and so it's quite fun to be able to put some attack speed on a caster, on a magic damage dealer. So something that I really love about this set.
Oh, I didn't know 4 costs existed in this game. Oh, thank you, Celia. I learned something here. No, but like you're saying, Rage Blade, when Ryze is casting, you will be stacking that up, and so we are still going to be seeing some 4 cost carry potential here, right? If players are going vertical portal, which I think personally is very strong. I think if someone does achieve, say, like a 10 portal, it's kind of like an automatic game win, unless anything else like super crazy happens. That's like, I mean, you need 10 units for it, right? Or at least 10 units plus emblem, so super strong from that unit. But yeah, we're seeing an overarching look at what players have on their boards here, and yeah, there is, I believe, just that one Syndra that I'm seeing, just Coco.
Yeah, Babzera now with the caretakers will be getting a Kog'Maw every time they level up until level 8, and so that'll really assist them in their re-rolling here, as they could try to get some kind of streak going here late in stage 2.
Yeah, Kog'Maw already with the Shojins. This is one of those 2-cost rerolls that we know is powerful in this meta. There's already the start of, a lot of good workings on this board. No full win streak though, and a little bit lacking in terms of that econ. No Nunus yet either. Nunu is definitely a big part of this competition's success. We're able to get him into that tier 3. A lot of good items though, but still the makings of something big here for Babzera.
Yeah, and this is a very important fight for them, but it does look like, it's going to be really close. The portal bombs coming through. The Kog'Maw's not able to quite do enough there. And so Babzera now back on that loss streak. But Arcchow, 4-win streak here is a great spot to be in.
I love the coin flip charm, personally. I love just gambling a 50-50. Hey, if you win +1 gold, it feels good. If you lose, whatever. It's, I was doing anything with that shop slot anyway. So it's fine, Copium. Yeah, no, but Babzera, like you mentioned, not able to get on any sort of streak on the end of this stage, but we got Enzos here. Wow, okay, looking for a bit of a multicaster reroll here. You have the Pandora's Bench rerolling 1 cost every single round, looking for that early 3-star power for these multi-strikers.
Yeah, and it looks like they're facing off versus one another, so one of their lost streaks will be broken between Lycoco and Enzo here, and Potable taking the reins of the win streaking here for branching out, and so Enzo will be taking that loss streak all the way to the bank.
Yeah, definitely. I'm curious to see. Curious how many stacks that Syndra from Coco already has. It's definitely over 15, but it hasn't made it to that 30 breakpoint yet, right? And then every 30 casts after that, it's going to be just so powerful. And it scales into late game so well. But only player still at 100 HP is going to be Arcchow on Geekay. Very strong opener there. Fun, that 5-win streak. Yeah, here with that Frost opener, right? It actually was able to get that full streak. I wasn't sure if it was possible, but hey, I guess it is.
Yeah, 2-star Shyvana in that front line is very powerful. Good amounts of items coming through here in this first neutral stage is quite nice for a lot of our players. I do want to call out that Potable did take that loss after taking risky moves, so was not able to 5 streak.
Yeah, it was pretty close though, but here we go. We got a gold orb there. Enzo still re-rolling. Oh, actually rolling it down here a little bit, maybe until about 30 gold, seeing if you can get any more of those stars. We got just 2 more ashes to go until Ash 3. No item slammed yet either, so there is the potential for so much. We got Nakali too. Wow, rolling so deep but not hitting anything.
Ooh.
CLE.
Yeah, they invested a lot there, and now we're gonna have to face the decision of they have to reroll something because they don't have enough bench slots, and so they're not gonna be able to pick up that Ashe. It looks like. Oh
wow,
end up
sold
selling one
a
of the Kassadin.
Yeah, what do you think about selling a Kassadin there? I know this is right. Give you a lot of power out of the Jax and the Ashe, but Kassadin, right? You used to be a very huge threat in your comp, right?
Yeah, it depends on what you're wanting to base it around. It looks like they did slam items for that Kassadin, and now they're going to have to figure out what else they're going to do to try to get these one-cost rerolls completed so that they can move on.
Edge of Night's very interesting here because you already have the components to make another Edge of Night. That augment is going to give you a free one. That attack speed is not going to be like the most valuable in multi-strikers, but it is still going to be valuable. And there we go. Some bench space cleared up. A Jax 3 achieved. And going to be playing 4 multi-strikers instead of 5. Going to be wanting to stack up that Pyro for an even stronger late game as opposed to just that power right now, because hopefully the Jax 3 is enough to kind of stabilize, and the Ashe will be there here in just a round or two.
Yeah, and not electing to slam the second Edge of Night here and not going for a Jax carry at all. It's an interesting decision here, going for that Ashe carry instead, slamming all items, trying to get off that loss streak clearly.
Yeah, and the Edge of Night on the Ashe, maybe with some concerns about, right? It will be protecting her against any, you know, random damage that she does take, but by the time that procs, Ashe will probably lose the round anyway, like what happens exactly in that round. You get 35% attack speed, but at what cost, right? Maybe just Enzo not willing to re-roll that augment, saying, okay, it's good enough out of these poor choices. And thankfully, okay, does actually already roll into that Ashe 3 from the Pandora's bench, so doesn't even need the one in the shop, but now is going to be re-rolling those 3 costs to get some more upgrades. And now does actually swap in that Kassadin for the 5 multi-striker.
Yeah, the shop kind of just trolled them also, having the Ashe in shop and also re-rolling another Ashe as well. So having 2 extra Ashes was quite comedic, but able to finally get those 1 stars upgraded, or 1 cost upgraded to 3-star, but gonna get Zephyr right away. So not even gonna be able to see it here early in action.
Wow, that support golem, and the support golems, both at gold and prismatic, are very highly rated. The support items are so good. You get that golem being an extra kind of frontline tank for you, and that Zephyr, right? So many players are not going to be used to looking out for that, unfortunately, but now that, you know, Enzo's facing, like, okay, everyone, all right, make sure to look out. Zephyr, Zephyr, Zephyr. You got to keep reminding each other, right? And that's where that team play kind of comes into mind. There's so many things you got to worry about as a TFT player, but having 3 other players to help you out does really make a world of difference.
Yeah, and it's very interesting. That'll be a very important aspect of this team play, is that Zephyr, being able to tell your teammates where this Zephyr is or what is happening, of like, don't put your carry here, but I'm going to try to Zephyr their carry in this corner. Some of those 100%. Interesting things that'll happen in the communication happening between the teammates.
Yeah, we see the boards as well. Volterix having a very strong Kassadin, Rageblade, BT, Archangels, Coco with that 3 items on the Syndra now. Definitely the stars here, but wow, a vertical frost here from Archao.
Is this 7 frost already? Wow, hits the Olaf here really early.
7 frost. Rolls down at 7 a little bit. It's 7. This is massive. I actually personally have not seen too much a vertical frost, so I maybe like once or twice in just my ladder games, and I saw a 9-1. It's like, oh, those spirits that pop out when you kill enemy units, that's very, very strong, but 7 surely is enough to be a super powerful mid game.
Yeah, sadly they did lose their win streak, but I imagine they would begin to start another one here. Doesn't have a ton of offensive items, which could be a problem, or an upgrade on that Swain. And so, I mean, wow,
look at this.
They now have a 3-star Poppy that is exploding, and this is looking pretty good.
Yeah, these are some of the strategies maybe players have cooked up here. Maybe centering around that, you know, Hui and the Olaf, really the big carries of Frost. Late game, maybe getting that Diana and then getting another +1 emblem so you can get to that 9 tier. That's going to be where this composition will surely contend for a first place finish, but going to be checking in with that later as we see our Sport Golem Zephyr player here with VCLF, one of the stars of this Geekay esports roster.
And it looks like there is a really good split right now. We have each of the teammates in 1, 2, 3, 4, like split up along the leaderboard. So it is very even now, about to head into stage 4. Lococo, though, is looking to secure a win streak here, and Dobbs looking for that loss streak. But for Volta versus VCLF here, who will put their team towards the top of the leaderboard heading into stage 4?
Man, it looks like Volta, that Cassidy is just so strong. The Archangels, right? Typically, the third item that you consider on Cassidy is either Archangels or it's going to be that Quicksilver, maybe Edge of Night as well, especially if you have, you know, the Edge of Night augment, of course. But there's going to be no CC resistance there, no tankiness, right? So as soon as that Cassidy gets targeted by a big threat, he's just going to fall over when it gets to that late game.
Yeah, for sure. And now looking at this board for Babzera here, this Hunter Honeymancer reroll is one that is very prominent in the meta right now. And with a great support golem to go along with it, I mean, these rods aren't very helpful, but able to get a lot of these Kog'Maws here because of this augment now rolling it on level 7.
Those rods are really disastrous. You look at something like that and you're like, more dog, why have you done this to me? Rods just aren't really used in that Kog'Maw reroll composition, unfortunately. You're going to be wanting to carry that Kog'Maw, that Tristana, and then maybe Jinx a bit later on. Maybe get some good AP scaling out of a Rumble, perhaps. It's really the only thing I can think of in terms of how that can work out.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how that gets used, maybe on a frontliner. But for Dobbs here, it looks like we're going fast 8 and rolling it down there, maybe playing this Callista Flex board that is probably one of the best 4-cost variations in the game right now. That's not a reroll. But I want to call out Category 5 on the other side, which buffs that Runan's Hurricane, but having double Runan's on a Jinx 2 is quite strong.
Yeah, I think that's actually not a combination I've seen very much of, let alone just that augment picked with Category 5. But we get a prismatic augment here in game number 1 CLE. Some very exciting choices, and could go more into multi-strikers, but no, gonna re-roll that. Be presented with anger issues, but is it ever called a chaos here? Like, that hasn't been re-rolled yet, so it looks like that's being considered here.
Oh, personally, I am a fan of Chaos, so I was so down for that. But here comes the roll down here on level 8, trying to get some of those 4 costs upgraded. Getting some of this front line coming through is pretty good here. Curious to see where they will end up, upgrading as many units as possible, trying to probably play towards this Preserver route, which is just an incredibly powerful late game board.
Got 4 Bash online now. Got a pair of Camille's, already 1 item dedicated to her. But all of the units with items here, CLE, are just 1 star, right? I don't actually think that roll down was enough to stabilize Dobbs, so this lose streak might continue here.
Yeah, no Callista 2 is pretty huge. Actually, not even a Callista pair. And so they're going to be trying to figure out whatever they can do as they take a pretty big loss here to Volta on the other side. What they're going to be able to do in order to stabilize this board and stop the bleeding out.
Yeah, it has to be a just hit kind of moment, right? Maybe find some big charms to provide a lot of value here. There's some decent ones starting up in stage 4. And wow, looking at this graphic, actually, we get look at the gold spend behavior. Yeah, definitely. Where all the gold has gone into re-rolling the units. I believe like the unit strength on the board.
You can clearly see who is leveling. Lococo, Arcjow, VCLF, and Dobbs all going to that fast state, buying all of those levels, where the other players using a lot of their gold to re-roll their shops and make as much as possible. Using a duplicator there to get more gold here for Dobbs to stay above that 10 gold mark. They are making some desperate moves in order to stay in this game.
Yeah, 100%. Dubs still not really finding much, unfortunately. Going up against a Fiora 2 and a Witchcraft Karma, right? That's so strong. And looking like maybe a little bit too strong for Dubs, but no, the Callista's still alive.
Yeah, lots of multi-striker procs coming in there, and so able to take that round win. Looks like there's a lot of multi-striker players in this lobby, at least 3 if I counted right. Many people playing this Callista unit. That is one of the premier forecasts.
100%. There is a Callista on this carousel. Dobbs is right in front of it. Could pick that up if he's tempted, but no. Nope. Does go away from it, in fact. Maybe wanting to make just a good full item instead. We get a chance to see what components are left over. It is going to be, for Dobbs, a rod on the bench and a bow, it looks like, on the Camille. Perhaps just a Rage Blade coming through, or Death Cap. It did actually take the Callista.
Yes, we'll be able to get that Callista upgrade, which is incredibly important, as we're now hopping on board with Volta, who's playing that Kassadin carry. But it's not reroll, only having that Kassadin 2 and no other copies on bench. Looking to continue to push tempo to try and stay up at the top half of this lobby. Looking clearly not for a first place, not re-rolling that Kassadin, but trying to get them a good placement.
Category 5, Jinx with the re-roll Wukong is not something I had on my bingo sheet here at the Esports World Cup, but this is a super interesting strategy, and I think it's very creative, well thought out. Wukong is a very solid front line, and is going to be healed up a lot by that Preserver, so I think this is looking pretty strong.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Wukong. A very unique 3 cost, not something we've really seen, because he has no traits. He's not attached to a synergy whatsoever. We see category 5.
Oh, wow.
Barely
Almost
losing out there. Lakoko able to keep that streak going. But Wukong just has no traits.
It's a very strange unit.
Flexible, yeah.
100%. It's like, okay, when do I actually put Wukong on my board? When should I go for that is a big question mark, outside of, okay, I got the spin to win augment. Okay, I'm going to be going Wukong. But I think that's a very creative situation to say that, oh yeah, right, this is the time to go for that. I'm already rolling a 3 cost with Jinx because I hit category 5. Right, and so how is that power really going to be kind of manifest on this board? And Wukong 3, I've ran into it in my ladder games personally. It sometimes feels like it just never dies.
Yeah, because it has no traits active, it gets a lot of extra stats that really just help it be a really premier frontline tank. Especially if you can get the right items on there and just solo frontline, it's quite good.
Yeah, 100%. Dobbs on their side here. Did hit the Callista too, but not enough. Taking yet another big loss, down to 5 HP right there for Geekay Esports. Enzo, however, not too far behind from branching out with just 6 HP.
Yeah, good news for Enzo, though, at the top of our leaderboard is the rest of his teammates in 1, 2, 3. So Enzo feeling a little bit more okay about going bot 4 here. But for Geekay, they got to figure this out.
Yeah, definitely. We got, Coco kind of running away with the lobby on an 11 win streak here. And of course, that is partially because of Syndra, right? The Syndra is a good unit. Now, with Karma as a duo carry, this is exactly how the level 8 board wants to look, even passively rolling into that Karma to add insult to injury, right? It's just such a strong board from Coco, getting that Vanguard in the front line, having that dual carry online. Dobbs needs to find something right now. Even having the Jinxes on the bench, right, was denying this a little bit, but has to sell them right now, right, to find upgrades, and does find the Taric 2, still just on the Camille 1. Had to sell to that Camille pair, however.
Yeah, this is going to be, a battle between who is going to go 8th. Who will drop out of this game first? Will it be Enzo? Will it be Dobbs? Which team will claim that last place spot? And it's looking pretty good here for Dobbs. The Callista is ramping up, but the Ashe is trying its best in order to hold off the team. But the Callista is able to get that last proc off and will take that round win versus Enzo to send out branching out in 8th place.
that was like 20 HP or something left alive on that Callista to decide who goes 8th here in game number 1. It is going to be Enzo from branching out. Dobbs does live another day, and that could turn into more placements here, right? Potted Bull, the next branching out member, getting dangerously low here, just 17 HP, hitting that Wukong 3, but still 2 jinxes away. That denial from Dobbs, I think, paying huge dividends here for Potted Bull, not reaching that 3-star.
Yeah, the Wukong 3, but also the Bard 3, which does a lot of damage amp for your team. If we're able to find this Jinx 3, this board could really take off, but for this board on the other side for Volta, where you don't have a lot of that shred just on that Shen, it's going to be really difficult to take down this Wukong 3 with all of the shielding, all of the healing, and we're seeing that on display here. The Wukong finally falling down here late into this round, and so that will be a win for Potted Bull, and Dobbs did drop out there in 7th place.
Yeah, Dobbs survived for just 1 round longer, but it wasn't quite enough. Now taking a look at these rolls coming through here, still not really finding
did take
that
a loss
3-star
as well, so they are now showing it that they can be beat. That there is some way that they can be beat. VCLF though is on that win streak, so imagine he was the one that was able to take a round off them.
We do see the gold though, right? Every single player is on sub 10 gold besides Coco being at almost 90. Coco saying, yeah, I can take a loss or two, push level 9, and make my board so much stronger. So we're really gonna be looking forward to seeing how that does shape out when he does level.
And we're seeing an Olaf carry here, that 7 Frost board that we saw earlier. No big frontline upgrades, no Swain 3, which I feel like is a very large part of this comp, but this Olaf is going pretty hard here. Maybe able to take down this Callista, will do. Able to stay alive here.
Okay, yeah, this vertical frost is, is hanging in there. I thought it might be going bot 4 here, and it still could, but we do have a moment of reprieve here on the carousel. We get some good completed items here as we take a look at the rest of these comps, right? VCLF, the only other player here, maybe not at single-digit HP range or 1 fight, and also is on a 5 win streak there, right? Has that good Fiora upgrade, has just a still 1-star Karma, but Karma with, Witchcraft, with blue buff, red buff as well. Very solid items for her.
Yeah, and we see a lot of interesting plays happening on these carousels, saving items for your teammates, saving units for your teammates to see if you can get any large upgrades to come through.
Definitely.
And so some of these fights are going to be very, very, very important. With 3 people under 10 HP means they are all on 1 life.
Yeah, we got Arcgel now. There's not much more that this comp can be improved with. We got the 3rd item now for Swain, just positioning, getting that Randuin's, right, with all of that increased range thing to buff out these units. The Zephyr hits the Swain though.
Ooh. Big frontline unit gone here. Now the Olaf is getting targeted here early, which will project that Edge of Night, so will not be able to survive one more time after this. But still no Karma 2 on the other side for VCLF, so not quite hitting that power mark. But this Fiora does not care about that at all, is now onto this back line and will be taking them. Oh, giant cast to take down the Olaf, and with it, Babzera and Arcgel fall down. This is disaster for Geekay.
Yeah, Geekay going 5th, 6th, and 7th. And so it's like, all right, my 8th isn't feeling too bad anymore, actually. So yeah, branching out, really coming out on top here in game number 1. Coco still on level 8. That
does secure branching out that 1st round victory, if I'm correct, right? I mean, I'm doing math on broadcast is a little bit sketchy sometimes.
We hate doing that.
Yeah,
I guess I'll get some confirmation on that, but I believe it should be, right? Even if Geekay, if VSLF does go first, right, it should still be enough points for branching out.
Yeah, that would be my understanding of how this format works, and so that 1st round win will set them up really well. But we still have a game to play. We still have to see how they are going to cap out these crazy boards, and this Fiora is an absolute menace, but will fall down to that Karma 2, and so Potted Bull also out. And VCLF did take a big loss, and so it's looking even worse, even if it was mathematically possible before. VCLF now taking a loss, setting them down within 1 life.
Especially from how dominant Coco's position here is in this game. It had that Syndra 2 so early, so it's like, okay, you know this comp's gonna go far, but just how far can it go is the big question. Being able to get to 8 very securely, get 3 items on the Karma, get the Nami in for the 3 Mage, and you know, the 3 Eldritch, right? There's a very good kind of trait splashing that happens in this comp. Hey, just get a Nami 2 for free, why don't we? From the neutral rounds there, giving that 4 cost. And you get a Shiv on it just as well. Like, this is such a dominant spot from Coco, but very well played. I want to draw attention to, right? How can you make that Syndra 2 go far? And this is exactly how to do it.
I mean, they're level 9. They have over 60 gold with lots of units on bench, trying to figure out ways to make their board a little bit stronger or a little bit weaker in order to help their teammate see if they can get those top 2 spots in this lobby.
Yeah, definitely gonna be getting the 2 cam here. We got a ghost fight from Coco here, but then VCLF versus Volt on the left.
Yeah, the fight on the left is the one that we really want to pay attention to see who will drop out in 3rd place. The Fiora, though, now onto the back line, onto the Callista, but will be able to take it down. The CC comes through from the Shen, and so it will not. VCLF will drop out, and that will be a branching out dominant victory.
Very dominant top 2 here from Coco and Volta. I don't know if they're actually allowed to like FF at this point, or they just want to play it out for fun. I don't know, but level 10 for Coco.
Roll for these 3-star 5 costs, have some fun with it. I'm sure we'll see that at some point in this tournament when it does not matter quite anymore. See if some people will have some fun, get us some good content in order to finish out games. There you go. No. I had a nightmare last night about the Syndra 3 unit, and I'm just kidding. No, but I mean, I think that was just all day yesterday playing. Yeah, it was not a fun day of solo queue yesterday, all rolling for 2 costs. And so Lakoko will be taking that first game win for branching out. Fantastic showing by them. You see the smiles on their faces as they know that they have dominated this game 1 and are looking to set themselves up well to get out of these groups. Yeah, reverse sweeps are quite possible. And you see Geekay here thinking about what they need to do in order to come back in game number 2. The Brazilian representatives are hoping that they can talk about what they did wrong and what they can do differently. Yeah, reverse sweeps are quite possible. And you see Geekay here thinking about what they need to do in order to come back in game number 2. The Brazilian representatives are hoping that they can talk about what they did wrong and what they can do differently. And maybe it's just, hey, we need to find more Syndras early, but we can make it work. They can make it happen in order to beat this French team.
Yeah, there was a shockingly low amount of early game Syndra, right? Coco being the one that found so many early. But even still being uncontested with so many early, didn't choose to reroll, right? I think that's very indicative of how this composition wants to kind of go about their game plan. Syndra 2 is literally all you need, and then push levels, have a dominant game like Coco did. But we did see some very intriguing stuff as well, right? That vertical frost that didn't end up doing as good as maybe as I would have hoped, but it still had a very big early game dominance. I'm excited to see if that can go even further.
Yeah, I love people trying to play around these verticals. There's a lot of these verticals that can absolutely dominate and win games. And so we see Frost there giving it a good effort to see if it will work. Able to not do a terrible placement, but get some good early game strength in order to set up their team well. And so interested to see if people will start playing more of this Witchcraft. Maybe we'll see 10 Portal or some of this 9 Fairy. All these different things that are part of the set now that we haven't really truly explored.
Yeah, it feels like from the meta perception, just honing in on a couple of things, that there's so many potential compositions that haven't really been explored in depth yet. And that's something that I brought up earlier at kind of the start of day, is which of these teams have practiced this stuff, right? Scrims, which players have been, doing a lot of, are just scrims. They don't really, matter in terms of, besides just like learning that knowledge that you gain, you might as well be like, all right, I'm just not going to click Syndra. I'm going to play these other things, see how they kind of work out in terms of the whole game, right? How strong are they? So definitely I think we're going to be seeing some more of that. At least to us, it's going to look like a lot of innovation, and see kind of how far that can go.
Yeah, it's one of the things I'm excited to continue to see throughout the day, is what have they learned from their scrims and working together. And it's going to be wonderful. And on the other side of this break, we'll be able to see more and more of this great TFT gameplay to help teach us Set 12 and crown a champion of the Esports World Cup for TFT. We'll see you on the other side.
Have you got what it takes to get to the top? It doesn't matter how high you climb. To reach the top, even the biggest champ needs a break. So you can recharge, dive back in, and dominate. Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
We are back with game number 2 from the Esports World Cup, getting ready to roll into the match point for our first matchup of the whole tournament.
Yeah, 100%. We have some exciting action. Just game 1, I think, already speaks volumes as to the caliber of player here, the caliber of play that we're seeing. And it could be branching out, closing out the series, right? In just one more game.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will be jumping into game here. Oh, before that, we will be looking at some highlights from game number 1. We see the 7 Frost coming through here, able to be dominant early, and Callista absolutely being all over this lobby.
Yeah, Callista is kind of that big question mark of how good can she be with that 4 cost kind of flex situation. It did dodge 8th place, but not too much better than that, unfortunately. It just is a unit that maybe wasn't too powerful, hit it kind of way too late, was stuck on 1-star Tarek, 1-star Camille, and 1-star Callista for just way too long.
Yeah, we saw the AP units absolutely dominate this lobby. That Syndra with the Radiant Spear Sojin was quite powerful. It does fall here to Volta's board, but it's something that ended up winning the game outright later on with these Karmas as the second carries.
Yeah, definitely. And all the way, right, Syndra, Coco took it from the start of the game all the way until the end. We had a solid performance right out of VLCF, the last reigning member of Geekay in that game, right? Got a 3rd place, but again, when the top 2, Volta and Coco just so dominant, right? Still won with 41 HP, a very healthy lead there to take that game with the finish.
Yeah, it was an excellent game 1, and we're so excited to see game number 2, to see if branching out can take the first round win to move themselves into prime position to make it through the group stages onto the playoffs. But can Geekay make that comeback, make the streak that they need in order to have that reverse sweep?
Yeah, there was a lot of, love being shown to Geekay from the fan prediction, right? Brazilian fans are always so hype, always so passionate about representing their players at various new esports events, and Esports World Cup is going to be no different, right? Geekay has a lot of talent still on that roster, so I think they can make a comeback happen, right? They are up against the big dogs of EMEA, right? Volta, Enzos, Coco, Potable, all very strong, but gotta show some respect to Dobbs, VLCF, Miguel, Archel, and Babsera. They're all players who have been to Worlds before. They have been dominant in their respective regions, and so they can make a comeback happen. Getting that first match win moving forward in this winners bracket is going to be such a strong start to the event, not only for just where you are, but for your confidence too, right? You don't want to be playing from behind and have that kind of looming over your shoulder where it's oh, one more series loss and we're just out of this thing, right? That's so much pressure.
Yeah, playing from ahead will be absolutely what they want to be able to do. And so for branching out, they're sitting pretty, knowing that they can lose a game and still have a shot. But for Geekay, this is it. This is a lot of their lives here in the top of this group stage. Dropping down, although it's not the end of the world, this is double elimination. It will be quite more difficult in order for them to make it out of groups, having to then win 2 matchups in a row. So, hoping that they can come back here in game number 2 and give themselves a chance to move on in the top of this group.
100%. And we had a quick break after game 1, so players got to chat with their teams. If they have a coach, probably will be able to identify any strengths, any weaknesses, and really want to shore those up for game number 2, right? This is a game, right, with so much variance to it that it's going to be hard to account for every single thing, but there are small improvements that you can make even in just your approach to how you want to play as a team here as we get into game number 2 here, CLE.
Yeah, game number 2. Will we see any last-minute swaps of the portal like we did last game? It looks like we will, but in the positive direction, saving us some time. Everyone choosing Pot of Gold.
Pot of Gold here going to be the choice, so a lot of money there later on into that game. Coco here starting off with just a Poppy, but yeah, that's going to be very impactful when we get to later stages of the game, depending on how many players are left alive.
Yeah, ooh, lots of 3 costs here, but not really the ones that we're specifically looking for, but able to get a lot of gold here, maybe even making that 10 break point earlier than the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, they are, units that we did see being played in the last game. But yeah, 2 Swains here from the Orb of Volterix. That is interesting to keep. And even an early Frost angle again as well we can be considering here for Volterix.
Yeah, and you can get a lot of these early lesser duplicators as well, which would be huge value. A 2-star Swain on stage 2 would probably nearly guarantee a streak being basically unkillable.
Yeah, definitely. As soon as you find just one shapeshifter, right, and you're likely to find one of either Elise, Jace, or Shyvana. Maybe, you know, not quite getting that 3 Frost online yet, though. But it's really interesting to consider how that strength of that 3 Frost trait will be against other things like Eldritch or like Portal, right? In that stage 2.
We do have an early Syndra sighting in the front line here to try and get some aggro, to get more stacks, to get that mana up in order to ramp this Syndra as much as possible. So Dobbs finding that Syndra and winning the lottery, but the items, though, are not towards the direction of Syndra. But gold augment here to start, and one of the most impactful ones is this Witchcraft Crest, something that we've seen be really powerful on Karma.
Definitely. Some very interesting options throughout the whole board here. 2 healthy. If you're going for, you know, reroll strategy, can definitely be considered. You're going to be playing, you know, perhaps the Galio and the Cassiopeia, but built different, CLE.
Built different is very, very good this set, but 2 healthy is also quite tempting with a lot of these 2-cost rerolls, and so will be 2 healthy being the choice, and looking like we're going to play Kog'Maw instead of this Syndra.
Yeah, 2 healthy is very, very good. With the Kog'Maw composition, we actually got the charm for the Reforger as well as the temporary one, so actually leveling up, playing 2 Vanguard, 3 Honeymancer. I think the interesting decision here is, does Dobbs reforge an item? Yes, it's going to be a sword. That's a big pickup here.
That's exactly what he was hoping for, a sword or a bow to be able to put onto this Kog'Maw. But I do want to call out on the other side, Lakoko has School Mascot, which gives your Eldritch unit, the unit that's spawned by having vertical Eldritch, gives that unit some items and some really powerful ones in the late game. Having the early Syndra pair as well, the Coco in an excellent spot to run it back for first place.
Yeah, 100%. Coco just finding these situations, right? Early Syndra pair even. No item slammed on it quite yet, but that is okay. That School Mascot is such a strong augment, and not something I expected to see there, actually. A full cell, maybe.
I'm very curious to see if we're talking about Poppy, Lilia, Zoe pivot here, having that blue buff.
Yeah.
What are we doing here? This is very interesting.
I am not sure, but I'm very curious to figure it out. There was that Zoe potential. We got a blue buff Nashers, which are 2 of Zoe's, you know, best in slot items here. But Potable just wants to be flexible, it looks like there. Make 20 gold, make some good econ, go on that early loss streak. Really, really interesting position. We haven't really seen a kind of full open fort style of play in a long time in TFT.
Yeah, full open fort, getting his items rerolled, so we'll have literally no direction here early in the game. No units for direction, no slammed items, because they're just going to reroll every round. And so it'll be very interesting to see where he ends up.
Okay. Interesting indeed. Enzos with a Kog'Maw as well. Affinity Edge being the slam there.
Yeah, but has the Clockwork
Accelerator
augment, so probably will not be sticking to this Kog'Maw. Instead, we'll go multi-strikers, I would imagine, with this augment.
I think there is perhaps potential for this Kog'Maw comp. It does scale well, getting attack speed every 4 seconds with units like Kog'Maw and like Tristana. Definitely not a very typical option there, as actually we do see Coco picking up a Syndra too, by the way. But yeah, the Clockwork Accelerator, definitely like a very poor augment in terms of the stats. One of the worst performing ones, in fact, but hey, maybe it can make it work out.
I believe in each of these players. They all know exactly what they're doing. They are pros for a reason, world qualifiers for a reason, and so we will see how this ends up, and you know, we'll all learn something from this. Arcgel, though, on the other side, does take 3 bows early, so lots of attack speed on this Jinx with red buff and Guinsoo's Rage Blade slammed, and so a win there and still at 100 HP for them.
Yeah, I think Jinx has already seen more play over the course of this, game and a few rounds of game number 2 than I expected to see, across the tournament, really. But no, players being able to find the power. Perhaps Jinx is one of those underrated units, right? VCLF, excuse me, taking a Jinx there. But the bow, perhaps just wanting to be that pickup there, right? The 3 items that VCLF has on the bench are going to be sword, rod, and glove. So maybe perhaps a Rage Blade slam there.
Yeah, Rage Blade is just such a good slam right now in the meta. And we're talking about Jinx a little bit. As someone who played a lot of Sugarcraft on PBE, just really enjoyed the stacking a cake and decorating it, and then it giving me rewards when I got up to above the 7th layer. Jinx is quite powerful, and I hope that they didn't nerf her too hard at the end of the PBE cycle. And so I believe that some of our players are finding the value in that.
Yeah, definitely. We have Voltaria here with the multi-striker line. Again, another player with Not Today. 2 Edge of Night slammed. We do have a Nashor's Tooth on the back line, or on the bench, excuse me, and it does go onto Kassadin. And so not quite the typical build.
It doesn't sound too bad, though. Being an AP melee unit that likes attack speed, in theory, I think that makes sense in my brain, but I have not played this.
Yeah, I haven't either. Definitely not with these 2 items, right? Going to probably want some healing out of that 3rd item, right? When Kassadin's going to be attacking a lot, just, because he's Kassadin. And from the multi-strikers. Oh, wow, the dummy left alive actually gets that round win. That's crazy.
The dummy left alive, that was the scapegoat also. Anyway.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, man, that's a good one. But wow, Clockwork Accelerator actually going on a 4-win streak here in the opener. We got 1 player from Branching Out and 1 player from Geekay. Going to be 100 HP, trying to secure their win streak. They could face each other here, and win streaks aren't as important as they were in the past, but still, going to be +2 gold for the next couple of rounds. Going to want to, keep that moving forward here.
Man, this is a very powerful board here with a lot of two cost upgrades. Facing off against Dobbs, who have the Spider-Man meme going on, looking at each other and seeing a very similar comp on the other side. So maybe this fight will determine who gets to play this comp and who doesn't.
Yeah, we got a pair of Kog'Maws on Enzo's side, just the one on Arcgel, both of them having Infinity Edge as well. Kind of one of the only really good users with Infinity Edge, it feels like, this set. Maybe like a couple others, but Kog'Maw definitely going to be your main one. Enzo is able to get that round win, secure the 5 streak, and Arcgel is as well. So a couple players here from the respective teams, starting off very, very strong.
Yeah, a lot of the plans working for each team. I imagine somebody is designated win streaker, someone is designated loss streak, and for both the teams that did work out here, for a representative of each of them winning and one of them losing as well. Padebo down to 69 HP, who we saw full open basically earlier in this stage, and now hoping to find some direction here after this neutral round.
Yeah, funny to see the ghost of a Krug there because of that frost trait come out and fight his brethren. Babzera getting some units dropped here, getting another potential Morellos, which is not good because we already have one. Padebo did find a strong enough board to win the neutral round, albeit barely, but yeah, has a lot of gold to work with. A lot of tiers to work with as well, but they're going to get even another tier, but they get rerolled because the Pandoras as well.
Oh, wow, but does have this Vex, too, to base this comp around. So maybe we're going towards a mage's route, possibly, with this blue buff. Playing Vigar could be a possible reroll here. Not one that we've seen much early in this set have success, but possibility for sure.
There's a few potential lines here. Vertical Mage could be one. It could be a 4 Chrono kind of Karma style that Vex is a part of there. Running 3 Mage as well with that Nami. And, Nora, once you're able to pick her up. But double Gargoyle Stone Plate. Wait, did you get the jump augment where he jumped into the backline?
Yeah, the big frontliner just jumped to the backline. Yeah,
that's funny.
Quite silly. And now you see the tanky power of this Vex, though. With that build, it's going to be very difficult to take down, especially next round when it doesn't jump to the backline.
Yeah, maybe a little bit grief there. There's just not enough damage though on the side of the board here. For Potable, it's just an Ari blue buff, which is okay. She casts every 3 autos, but I guess not a bad loss there. 2 units, 6 loss streak, gonna be making a lot of gold. Potable, the richest in the lobby, but not by too much though.
And our second augment choice coming through will be another gold augment. And so this will help players get to the spot that they're looking for, continue to give them direction that they need. And for Potable, really good option here with Magic Wand, able to get AP on all of these units, as well as just some more power from the AP that this trait provides.
Playing some good synergies here, right? Not ones that are super conventional in the early game, but ones that are still, you know, going to get a little bit of value here. We got 2 Vanguard with the Rumble and the Galio as well, right? We're going to have the Sugarcraft being stacked up in case we play that in the late game. But the Rod here, I think that gives a lot of good direction towards this AP line. You're going to be playing AP units that benefit heavily from that extra bit of damage, perhaps even making up to, you know, 50 gold here in this round as well. If we win, and if we lose, yeah, I think we can just sell that Mordekaiser. It's not too detrimental. But going up against Voltarius here, who has committed to multi-strikers now with that emblem.
The multi-striker emblem is quite powerful, able to get 7 multi-striker very easily on level 7. And so I imagine Volta will be heading there soon. But able to probably swing together a couple wins here to keep you healthy. Very, very good spot for Volta here in this mid-game.
Yeah, Potable just doesn't have the damage, only able to kill 2 units there. Does the Mordekaiser for Econ. As we take a look at some more boards here, VCLF. With that, you know, Wukong Jinx, but the spin to win augment here is a big one. CLE having all that power in this Wukong, going to be such a strong frontline threat.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting to keep our eye on. One of these hero augments that really does change how a unit works. And so this Wukong will be extremely powerful and do a lot more damage because of this augment.
Yeah, you can still build him tanky, but he's just going to be doing good damage, going to be very survivable as well, but gets that, you know, stacking attack damage and attack speed. The dummy in the front lines, right? You got that scapegoat, want to get that +1 gold, but then right behind, boom, that Wukong. No items on him yet, and still only a Jinx 1 for the backline. So this composition still has a long way to go, which is represented by, you know, VCLF being at relatively low HP. But there is the start of something great here. Ooh. And yeah, that's represented by the 5-unit win there versus Bapzera.
Man, if you're able to continue to win here and able to keep this streak going and then re-roll these units on level 7 and hit them, this could be something that could absolutely skyrocket them into the late game.
Gonna be the stage 3 carousel right now. Still got a couple players rocking with that Kog'Maw at this point. Coco with that Syndra 2 Rage Blade. But really, I think the big things to look at are how like players like Arcjow, you know, gonna be able to, you know, keep their win streak. Because look at that comp, or not win streak, but like high HP, right? Because looking at that comp, it doesn't look very good, but still 90 HP. It's just that board strength out of those, you know, just that unit power.
Yeah, just upgraded units, 2-cost units. And I believe, wait, that second augment, that's the one that if you get a ton of gold, you get a really powerful reward.
Yeah, so you know, like the 161 gold. I'm actually blanking the name of that augment, but okay. Arcjow gonna be at, you know, 76 gold. It's going down a little bit, maybe just buying out the shop there.
Yeah.
But wow, okay, not something I expected to see. Gonna be potentially getting that big reward. Gonna be saving gold, not leveling, right? Gonna still be on level 5. The board quality is good enough to maybe not take bad losses, so that's gonna be huge. As soon as that 160 gold is found, want to see what Arcjow gets.
Yeah, and for Potable here, now able to find that Vigar, get a little bit more strength on this board. That blue buff is very good on this unit, able to cast a ton of times, and Mage just enabling these units to cast twice. And once you get 5 in, the AP does come with it as well. And so Potable, very clear line here. I'm interested to see how much power this actually will have in the late game.
Yeah, definitely looks like stabilizing has happened. That Vex is very strong. Vigar, however, not being able to do enough does fall to the Syndra, man. Once again, these Syndras and their terror that they rain on the lobby.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. By the way, that augment is called a Golden Quest.
Right, yeah. I was trying to rack my brain for it too. I was like, what is that? Yeah, no. Golden Quest. As soon as you get that 161 gold, you get a 2-star 5 cost and 3 items that are, gonna be good for them. But is it gonna be worth it here? Is gonna be the question for ArcJoe.
Yeah, when we see him saving up as much gold as possible on the right side with the 2-loss streak now coming in as well. A BT on this Wukong will make this Wukong quite powerful already, able to now to survive longer with the amount of damage that it does. But will this be the face-off? Will we break the loss streak here for Pate Bull heading into stage 4? I'm not sure he wants to, but this fight's looking not too bad.
I was actually gonna say, I probably want to keep the streak at this point, maybe make it a good loss, but no, that Vex is so powerful, and the Wukong just not being quite tanky enough at this point with just the BT. And yes, that will be VCLF getting that loss there, and Pate Bull want to continue this win streak here forward.
Yeah, and that Jinx 1 just didn't have enough damage to get through this Vex with the double Gargoyle Stone Plate there, and the healing that comes through. And so not quite able to get it done here. Babzera going for that fast 8 style that we saw a lot of players play last game as well. And playing around a lot of 1-star units here. Not a ton of upgrades or direction.
Yeah, this is looking like a pretty doomed spot for Babzera unless you go 8 and high roll, basically, right? Like finding a lot of good upgrades, finding a Karma, finding like a Nasus 2 for frontline. But even if that comes into play, right, we don't have that many items for a front line. So it's gonna be going to level 8 right now, rolling down, find a Swain to upgrade, and I guess that kind of has to be good enough. But where's a Karma? Even just 1 Karma, I think, would put Babzera in such a better spot here. A couple of Nasus, which you do want to pick up.
Yeah, the damage is just missing on this. Oh, way too. Oh,
Karma.
1 Karma.
There she is.
Decides to go with the Karma over the Hui 2, which in this meta I understand. Playing this Witchcraft Preserver board, able to find that Morgana, which is just so crucial to this board. But on the other side, we had a giant roll down happen at 10 gold now. Doesn't look anywhere close to any 3-stars.
No, maybe just wanted to find a Vigard 2, saying I need a Vigard 2 on stage 4. I'm just going to take so many losses, right? Because on the other side they're already very, very low. Oh, with that Karma, is it enough?
Yeah, the Karma doesn't seem like it quite did. Oh,
wow,
barely. The Morello doing a lot of work there late in the round to keep that board burning. So for Babzera, that is a good win for them, but that's not good at all for the Mage player on the other side.
Ooh, Witchcraft for Babzera could be looking at 6 Witchcraft to maybe bail them out. The unfortunate thing is that there's 3 items already slammed onto the Karma. Generally, you want Witchcraft to be on her, so would need to find an augment that's, a Reforger. Oh, wait, ArcJoe is...
Oh, we hit it. So we hit the Golden
Quest.
Quest.
The Camille. Yeah,
and
I was like, wait, where's the unit? Yeah, no, you're right.
We have reinforcement as well, and so we're going for this multi-striker route. Now able to play and put items on this Camille 2, have this Callista 2 as well to stabilize them. They're high gold on level 8, rolling it down here a little bit, figuring out what they can play, playing Preservers alongside this. This is looking pretty good.
Yeah, definitely needs 1 more multi-striker on this board. Doesn't get it yet because all that power is going to really be out of that Camille and out of the Callista as well. Some really good items for them, right? The 3 tailored items for Camille being Edge of Night, i.e. and Hand of Justice. And wow, just look at our stage 4, right? Early stage 4 and that legendary power.
Yeah, we have these 2 upgraded units that are augments granted us, but very low combat power from augments. And so we need to find it in our units. So 44 gold left to roll. Will be a very close loss there, but it's looking pretty good for them. They just need to upgrade this front line.
Yeah, upon hitting all of that and still losing around right after, that has to feel really bad. But like you say, it does come through with that weak front line. As soon as that's upgraded, as soon as another multi-striker is fit onto the board, it'll be looking a lot better. ArcJoe here trying to roll for a few more upgrades, does find an Akali, and that's really, really good when it comes to getting that Warrior, multi-striker, and Pyro online, right? All 3 really good synergies.
Yeah, lots and lots of synergies here for ArcJoe. Now just needs to upgrade some of these. We're still sitting at 50 gold. He is not sending it all the way down, even against some of these boards that have 0 gold now. And so it's going to be, I'm curious to see why they're holding on to this gold. Are they planning on going level 9? Do we think that this board is strong enough? And right now it's looking pretty good into this Kog'Maw.
Yeah, 100%. The Kog'Maw, right, hit a couple of big upgrades with the Nunu and the Tristana, but still being one off of the Kog'Maw wasn't nearly enough. And yeah, this is the healing that we wanted to see on the Kassadin. It is a close round, but Kassadin from Volterix does close out the round against Bapsera. Bapsera falling very low here, 22 HP.
Yeah, Volta keeping that HP lead at 82 over the rest of the lobby on that win streak as well. Hotly contested are some of these 4 and 5 costs here on this carousel. Arcjow now able to find that Fiora 2 as well.
Yeah, big.
And so that is going to really stabilize them.
100%. I think the other upgrade they were sitting on was a pair of Rakans, just that 1-star Nasus though with no pair. But Fiora, right, with that BT, as soon as you find a couple more items for her, she is going to be a big threat online, especially with that warrior buff in there helping her out too. That oftentimes you don't really see when you're playing 4-cost flex. Warrior is kind of omitted there, but she's gonna be more powerful than we do expect as we take now a look at a board from Coco that does again feature a Syndra, 5 copies of the Syndra, but there's not really too much else going on there besides the frontline power on that Wukong.
Yeah, it looks like they didn't quite hit the mark for what they were hoping for in this game. The 5 Eldritch is pretty good. If you get to that 7, then it's really powerful, but no Eldritch Spat makes that quite difficult. But having a lot of these powerful mages will be helpful. Having that Nora and Yuumi here to help power up your board is quite strong, but you see on the other side, Arcjow's board that just upgraded that Fiora as well, being quite powerful, and it is going to really put the lobby on watch here for them to win this game.
Yeah, definitely. Fiora and Camille both found their way into the backline pretty quickly there, which made that fight really, really dominant. Pot of Bull finding another Vygar too, but I think still a little bit too far away here. We hit Vex 3. We have a couple Wukongs that are being denied here. One more Vygar, but it's probably just not enough here.
Yeah, Vygar 3 would spike this board a ton, but just not quite able to get there. They even got Spellblades as their last augment, which is one of the most powerful ones in the game, especially for those that are casting a ton. But it's not looking like it's going to be quite enough. 8 HP means 1 life, 1 little mistake, 1 bad matchup, and they are out.
Let's see it. Potable versus Coco. Potentially a team kill here, but Potable might be strong enough for this board.
Yeah, this board from Le Coco is not super strong, but they don't want to kill either of them. It might just be better for Potable to fall out of the game here in order to sacrifice for their teammate, but that's not quite looking like what it's going to be as the main tank for Le Coco falls down, and now the Syndra as well. Was able to hit that Nora 2 on the other side, which didn't really swing the fight though.
Yeah, it's almost like it's not just a waste of 10 gold at that point, right? Getting a Nora 2. It didn't really do too much there. It's, you know, better scaling with that Yuumi with whatever unit it's attached to, but besides that, you know, not too much more. Potable does get another round though to potentially find the Vygar 3, so I wager it is still worth it for Potable to, you know, not be the sacrificial lamb there and not go 8th. Yeah. I think if Potable does hit, Vygar 3 could turn this game around at least a couple of placements, if not more.
Yeah, they're looking to secure this game number 2 to move them on handedly. Getting that clean sweep would be ideal for them, but able to get some of this gold in the bank to try and power up this board here. Looking for anti-heal, but instead we'll be going for some shred in this front line. The roll down here for Vygar 3 will determine their life in this game.
Rolling down here, trying to find the Vygars is going to be picking a charm, but no Vygars. We could sell a Wukong. Actually going to be selling a Nami, getting the pair in there for an Ionic Spark Slam. I actually like that a lot here, buffing up that Vygar and that Vex damage a little bit, as they are the main carries here. Another Wukong, but no Vygars.
And clearly a team play here is not selling these Wukongs, not giving the Wukong 3 to the other side here. Arcjow, though, now has a Pyro spat as well, so I believe they're at 3 Pyro, or at least 2, as the Fiora is now onto the back line, onto the Vygar, dashes across away, so the Vygar may be able to take that down, but the Callista 2 is too powerful, and so Potable will be dying of cutscene here.
Yeah, and at this point, you kind of have to call into question, is it worth it to hold those Wukongs for just that round? Because if you're going to die anyway, they go back in the pool, so you might as well just sell and try to be strong enough to survive your round. But Potable did not do that, did hold Wukongs to the grave, went 8th, VCLF and Bapzera and Coco.
Of cutscene here.
Yeah, and at this point, you kind of have to call into question, is it worth it to hold those Wukongs for just that round? Because if you're going to die anyway, they go back in the pool, so you might as well just sell and try to be strong enough to survive your round. But Potable did not do that, did hold Wukongs to the grave, went 8th, VCLF and Bapzera and Coco, actually, next 3 players in the chopping block here. A bad loss from any of them could be going out in 7th. Dobbs with this cog reroll, still 2 off, 1 off on the Rumble too. There's so many upgrades, and there's the duplicator on the bench, however, though, but doesn't want to expend it this early.
Man, Dobbs has 1 more life, probably it's 2 lives left, so is holding out hope here for both of those upgrades. Enzo on the other side, though, has that upgrade that he is looking for, and it may be disastrous if they're not able to hit here soon. Didn't want to Nico the Rumble quite yet to get them in a spot, but I do want to keep our eye on the right side of the screen to see if Lococo was able to get that win last round, and if they get another win, we'll set up branching out to be able to secure this win. So Dobbs taking a big loss here versus Enzo's board. VCLF, though, does fall out, and so does Bapzera.
Wow, okay.
Oh, no.
There's a lot of pressure on the 2 remaining Geekay Esports members, but Dobbs, if Dobbs falls here next, I think that's going to spell defeat. Dobbs does hit the cog 3, though. That's big.
Cog 3 is huge, but not having still being level 7 is quite difficult against all of these other boards that are so incredibly powerful as well. And so this matchup will matter a ton. Will they be facing their teammate or somebody different?
Let's see. Dobbs facing up against Volterix. Volterix is so strong here, CLE. I don't know if Dobbs can hang on.
Lots of 3 stars on this other side, but this Kog'Maw is on to this casting here early. The Edge of Night does proc, but the Tristana able to knock the Akali out of the backline to save this Kog'Maw, save some time here. Kog'Maw doing lots of damage, but the front line falls down, and with it, so will Dobbs, and with it, so will Geekay here in this first matchup.
Wow, Geekay, there's so much potential there, but not being able to make it happen. Unfortunately, Bapzera was just too behind with the Karma board. VCLF did not hit that spin to win. You know, that griefing from Potable paid big dividends there. And then Dobbs being contested in that cog reroll. Everything went well in this game here for branching out in terms of the denial, the contesting each other's comps, and then just the really good standard play here from Enzo and Volterix to be here out on top here in the second game.
Man, and this board from ArcJow looks so incredibly good. This was a very well done game, able to win streak a lot of the early game, take this really risky augment that has one of the worst average placements in all of the game, and pilot it to a victory, able to sack the mid game to get this gold that they needed to get all the way up there to get this 5 cost, take reinforcement to stabilize. What a fantastic game.
Yeah, 100%. So well played. ArcJow talking to his teammates, it looks like, maybe just prepping for the next series, right? It's like, okay, what went wrong here? How do we improve? That has to be the mindset you have, right? You got to be looking forwards towards the future at this point. This was an admirable effort here, right? But they get a second chance, maybe even can, you know, get a little bit of I guess just, you know, some good feels by winning this game versus Volta and Enzo, even if the rest of the team did bot 4. But still a very well played game here for ArcJow. Not too often we see a golden quest here being played to this kind of level of caliber, and then the way is able to make this whole board kind of work out with that in mind. Really good trait webs, and just well played still.
Yeah, I mean, it just pride here. Enzo selling whole board. What is happening here? Enzo just knows that they won, sells whole board here, rolls it down just for fun, takes off. Oh, maybe takes off the headphones. Just chilling, knowing that they're not going to win either of these matchups. So respectfully, does not FF, but just enjoying the view.
Yeah. I wonder if it's a situation where it's like a rock, paper, scissors. Like, okay, Enzo's going to beat Volta, but you actually don't want that to happen because Volta will beat Arcjao. Like, that could be a dynamic there. Where you're going to want, you know, your other teammate to just, you know, take out the opposing team. But yeah, I guess no matter what happens here, branching out will take the dub. So not really too impactful at this point.
Yeah, no big difference here. Just enjoying it. Arcjao taking that victory lap, claiming what they can for their team. And so it's going to be an absolute dominating performance by branching out.
Yeah, and this just talk about this Arcjao board here for just a bit longer, right? Vertical Pyro is definitely something that, at least personally, I think is like underrated, right? Players are talking all about, you know, the Karma, the Syndra, but Pyro, even around the Varus, if you're able to, you know, get him online, get 5 Pyro, it does a lot of damage and really strong work. And just looking at Arcjao's spot specifically here. Oh yeah, this pot of gold, right? I forgot that we had that portal here in this game. So 3 players sharing a whopping 250 gold. Arcjao being able to go to level 10 at that point, and find a Varus, have that 5 Pyro online. Love to see it.
Yeah, and we do have this champion duplicator picked up, so I'm hoping to see a 3-star 4 cost or 5 cost here from Arcjao just for fun. The roll down happening here, not quite able to find what they're looking for. Will probably just make, yep, this 2-star Briar and really stake their claim as the winner of this game.
Yeah, maybe BT on the Briar. Yep, that's exactly what it's going to be against the multi-strikers of Volta. However, getting the calling the backline.
Just kidding, the Akali dashed away, and so the Kalista will not fall. And so Arcjao continuing to win here. Enzo does drop out after having some fun here in the late game. And Arcjao knows that he may win this game, but his team does not. And so there's a lot of mixed feelings happening.
Yeah, definitely. Still, you know, I respect that. Out of, you know, a competitor, I can respect it, wanting to play for the win no matter what happens, right? You still get valuable experience here in these late game high pressure situations. Being able to just play good TFT at the end of the day. Got to give a shout out to Arcjao from Geekay Esports for that one. Is there anything that Volta can do here? I'm not so sure. Camille won, right? There's no many other big upgrades that can be found. Does have a duplicator on the bench, but so far away from any real impactful upgrades. A couple more rounds, and this might just be it here.
Yeah, Camille 2 could be helpful, and switching those items could be good, but I'm not sure that's in the cards. Very hard to find, especially with a lot of them out of the pool already for Volta here. And this Briar CC coming through onto the back line. This is looking pretty decisive here, and will probably continue to throughout the rest of this game.
Yeah, 100% here. Just kind of the victory march here at the end of the day. And I'm excited because I believe we're gonna be getting some interviews in here, so being able to talk to branching out after this, and we get, you know, a little bit of a deeper look into how their preparation has worked out for them.
Yep.
What that kind of means, preparation for this event. Volta selling whole board to try to find Tom Kench 3.